This is called regret.
The message just repeats. Regret. Regret. Regret.
Regret.
Catchy.
Any idea what it means?
Regret.
Dear humanity, we regret being alien bastards. We regret coming to Earth, and we most certainly regret deciding to watch all 3 Star Wars prequels back to back to back.
Hoorah! I have the first movie pulled up. Apparently they have them ordered on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah. I can't. The Phantom Menace is the chronological starting point of the entire Star Wars series. That is nuts.
There is like an era before the prequels. They wrote books about that era, and most of the Star Wars games actually take place in that era, but they haven't adapted any of that onto television.
Imagine some poor sap who's like, hey, I've heard about the Star Wars on Disney Plus and just decides to check it out one day, and then they go down
Let's start with the prequels.
They go down to the chronological timeline order, and they're like, let's see. Well, this one says episode 1. I guess I'll start here. Yeah.
Literally any other Star Wars media is a better starting point.
I have them.
You know a bit about the Book of Boba Fett, right?
I know that it basically is not the Book of Boba Fett, in that the priority is everything that isn't him, and whenever he's in it, there's not much going on. So I know, I know that there's one episode that's literally just an episode of The Mandalorian that they shoved in there. I know that there's an episode where they go visit Luke and go... the main thing that I know that a lot of people apparently didn't realize until Mandalorian Season 3 came out is that the Book of Boba Fett mainly only exists to erase the ending of Mandalorian Season 2. It's like, oh, what a big emotional moment where Grogu and the Mandalorian, whose name I don't actually know, nor do I care, they say goodbye, and he takes his helmet off, and oh, how sad. And then Book of Boba Fett is like, hey, we're back together, and then Season 3, Episode 1 of Mandalorian is just like... Imagine watching The Mandalorian and not watching Book of Boba Fett. You'd be confused out of your goddamn mind.
It's a good thing I wasn't going to do that, totally.
Like, because I know people who aren't Star Wars nuts, but they really like The Mandalorian. So they didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, but they did watch Season 3, Episode 1 of Mandalorian. They like, did we skip what is going on?
Did we skip something?
It's such a backwards way of structuring your story. Anyway, I'm looking at the timeline order. It goes Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, The Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars is the only good thing in there.
Revenge of the Sith, then there's The Bad Batch. Solo is
a pretty decent movie. Not like the best movie. It's a good movie.
Kenobi. I remember last year during a Halo stream, someone mentioned their favorite show was Kenobi, and you had a conniption. Someone said this is going to be more than controversial, but their top 3 shows are SpongeBob SquarePants, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi? I need an explanation for that last one.
I haven't seen the show, though, but from what my dad was telling me, it's like the Princess Leia show, but not when she's an adult, when she's an annoying child.
Star Wars Rebels is next.
Depending on the season. That's what I have to say about Rebels.
And Andor, everyone says, and your dad told me that Andor is the greatest Star Wars thing that's ever been Star Wars.
Everyone says Andor is the greatest thing that Star Wars has ever Star Wars.
Rogue One, I hear very mixed things about.
Rogue One is technically the sequel to Andor, so.
Then there's the original trilogy, timeless classics, of course.
Timeless classics.
The Mandalorian, A Book of Boba Fett, which we kind of touched on. Star Wars Resistance.
Never seen that. Apparently that's a completely different direction than the other animated series.
And then we have the legendary sequel trilogy.
Which started off really strong and then just crash landed.
Very jarringly, too. It's like in Madagascar 2, when there's like, good news is we'll be landing immediately. Bad news is we're crash landing, and it just plummets down on a 90-degree angle.
Fucking hell, Disney. Why did you decide that you were the Disney, why?
Oh, I can piss you off more. Here, let me send you something. I'm just
Disney, why? That's.
So, there I was, minding my own business. I saw that the finale was airing on TV last night, and I decided to watch it again. And, I made a discovery. I please watch this and try not to commit the big die.
Wait, did they cut out the epilogue?
Yes. This is how this episode is airing on live TV. There is no epilogue. It just ends on this, like, Disney?
Arguably worse!
Disney, why are you the way that you are? Why do you make it so hard for me to like you?
Oh, Disney. Why don't you want why are you actively trying to make people hate you?
Remember when we were maybe not you, because you were a DreamWorks kid, but remember when, at least when I was a kid, and I looked at Disney, I was like, man, what a lovely, happy, fun time, paradise, idyllic company where everything is always amazing and they only make the best of things. Now as an adult, I'm just like, you piles of actual garbage. Like, it's like the opposite of Wreck-It Ralph. Why do you ruin everything you touch? So, Star Wars?
Star Wars, the first thing that Disney ever ruined.
Ugh.
Because they bought Star Wars. That was a great decision. They then gave George Lucas full creative control of his movies. That was the mistake.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are we doing... What have I done to deserve this?
Well, I asked, do you want to watch the prequels? You said yes, and didn't ask any questions for some reason, which is surprising. And then you asked questions.
Have you ever just looked at your life choices and you thought to yourself, so you're probably wondering how I ended up here. If that's just me, how did we get to this point where I'm about to watch the goddamn Star Wars prequel?
Let's rewind like 3 weeks. We were on our way to Universal.
Yeah, so usually I give a bit of preamble before we do an audio commentary, but I'm just gonna turn the floor over to you because this was, in case you couldn't tell, this was not my idea. Under no circumstances.
Entirely my idea!
Under no circumstances would I have ever suggested this shit. So, by all means, take it away. Bring the viewers up to speed on why in the name of the Titan we're sitting down to watch all 3 Star Wars prequels in one goddamn day.
So we were on our way to Universal, and for some reason we started talking about the Star Wars movies. I don't remember the exact reason, but I started talking about how I ranked them, and how I was, like, baffled that people actually thought these movies were good, when most of them are boring. Specifically, I started complaining about the Phantom Menace and how people are like, no, it's not that bad of a movie. But I'm like, no, it's not that bad of a... You say it's not that bad of a movie. The only thing you're remembering from that movie is the fact that the Darth Maul fight is in it. And arguably, that is the best 5 minutes of the movie, along with the pod racing. This movie is 2 hours long. And those 2 scenes do not save the rest of the runtime, let me tell you. And then we just didn't talk about it for, like, the entirety of that trip, because we were like, yeah, maybe we might record a commentary about that one day. And then we didn't talk about it for the rest of the trip. Fast forward, I get back to Chicago, and we're like, hey, what if we film that? I was like, hey, what if we film that prequel commentary? And you were like, sure. For some reason.
Biggest mistake in my life.
Any hesitation. I was really surprised. I was expecting you to say, let me think about it. And then you didn't. And I was like, okay.
And now I'm thinking about it. And now
we're here. Just be glad you didn't end up with a Riverdale commentary somehow. That was almost a thing.
I'm never saying yes to that. Don't even try. I'd like to say the other reason why we probably didn't discuss it that day is because we were too busy harassing people with water jet things.
Yes.
Insert footage now.
Insert footage of violence.
So you can pay. Oh, come on, the boat's empty. Lame. There's gonna be another round of empty boats. You pay money, you get to squirt people. It's sadism for $1 is what it is. Of course they have ponchos. They're bracing for us. Yay! $1. One more and then we leave. Because those guys had ponchos. They were ready for us.
Sadism for $1.
That's the sound of a splash. That is the sound of a splash. Oh, it's game over for you, pal. It is game over for you, pal. Ready? Unleash the hell fury upon them. Hey down there. Yes, we are. We're evil for extra credit.
So here's the thing with me. For those of you may know this about me, but I don't care about Star Wars at all. I do not give one singular hoot about this franchise. The strongest emotional attachment I have to anything that's even remotely Star Wars related is the Phineas and Ferb crossover special, and obviously Lego Star Wars: The Complete Saga, which is a classic. Not as good as Lego Indiana Jones, but a classic nonetheless. Oh, and I guess the Star Tours ride out in Disney World, that's a fun time. I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge. We'll go one day.
We'll go one day.
But for now, all I've written is Star Wars, and Star Wars is a fun time. But as far as the movies themselves, the movies, the shows, Star Wars has never been my thing. But before you ask, neither is Star Trek. I don't participate in the culture war of Star Wars versus Star Trek. I care as equally little about both of them. As for why I was so eager to jump into this commentary without even thinking about it, I will give you some insight as to that. Part of the reason that I agreed to do this is because one of the most consistent requests I've gotten in my comments is, hey, can you do a breakdown of the Star Wars sequel trilogy? A lot of people have asked me to cover Star Wars on the channel, and I'm sorry to say that that's never gonna happen in the way that you probably wanted to. Like, you're never gonna see how The Last Jedi destroyed everything, or how The Rise of Skywalker destroyed everything, because I just don't care that much. This is the closest you are ever gonna get to something Star Wars related from me on this channel, which is why I wanted to do it. Just to give all of you out there who want to hear what I have to say about Star Wars something to to digest. That, and I guess, if you really want to hear me rant about The Rise of Skywalker, you can go watch my top 20 worst movies video, which she cameos in.
Yeah, because you asked me, because I introduced you to one of those top 20 worst movies for some reason.
I have a feeling it's gonna happen again. I have a sneaking suspicion I might end up changing that list again after we're done here today.
Oh yeah, I've also introduced the Amazing Spider-Man's on there right now, but like, unfortunately that was watched afterwards. Apparently it's better than The Incredibles 2, and I'm shocked. Like, I heard actual compliments for that movie while we were watching The Amazing Spider-Man, and I was astounded.
Yes, I actually believe Incredibles 2 does what it sets out to do better than the Amazing Spider-Man movies, because there are some similar plot structures that made me think. Maybe it's because we watched those movies the week I was editing the second part of my Incredibles 2 series. That might have had something to do with it, but whatever the case, I just kept seeing parallels to Incredibles 2, so I was like, wow, they did that so much better than they did that here.
I can't believe Incredibles 2 got compliments. Anyways.
I don't think I've ever actually sat down to watch any of these three films start to finish in one sitting, except for The Phantom Menace. I know I watched that one start to finish when I was a kid, but I didn't do that for the other two. I think I watched the opening chase scene for Attack of the Clones, and obviously Revenge of the Sith. I watched the final battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but that's it. I have a vague, nebulous idea of what happens in this trilogy, but that's entirely derived from Lego Star Wars. Like, everything I know about the plot of this trilogy comes entirely from the image I have in my head of the levels from the Lego video game. Which honestly probably isn't much, because these movies are all 2.5 hours goddamn long, and each movie in the game is only given like 6 levels, some of which are as short as 5 minutes. So I remember one time I summarized the prequel trilogy for you based entirely on that knowledge that I have from those games, and that was a thing.
I was laughing.
Most people play that game, it's like, oh, it's great to be able to experience my favorite movies in Lego form, and I'm just it's the reverse for me, where I play the game and then I get to see the movie that it's based on. So I may as well be watching these all for the first time, honestly.
You should just stuck with the games.
Probably. I have a feeling. We'll see. We'll see. So it's gonna be a very bizarre experience for me. I literally haven't watched a Star Wars movie since The Rise of Skywalker came out in December of 2019, and I haven't watched The Phantom Menace since I was in elementary school. So let's get this show on the road. I have The Phantom Menace pulled up.
Brief summary of my experience. It's really short. I've watched this movie since literally before I was born. My dad was apparently watching the Star Wars movies when my mom was in labor. So, there we go.
Wait, I thought you were gonna say while she was pregnant, while she was in labor?
Yeah, that's what he brought to the hospital!
What?
He brought all 6 Star Wars movies to the hospital. Or, well,
what?
the ones that were out by then. He brought them to the hospital and just watched them on repeat.
Okay, that sure is a memory to be associated with the birth of your kid. What the fuck?
Let me check the prequel release date so I'll tell you how many he brought.
I just like the idea that she's like, keep breathing, honey, keep breathing. You're almost there. And while she's glancing over at the screen in the hospital room, like, get him, Obi-Wan, get him, Obi-Wan. And he just like...
Okay, so he had the Phantom Menace, but he didn't have Attack of the Clones because that was released 6 days after I was born.
Oh.
So
does that mean you manifested it into existence?
I mean, it's like I hesitate to say my favorite prequel. It's the one I like the most. I don't like it for any technical reasons. The only reason I like it is because it introduces the clones, and I like the clones. However, I should say, you will not like the clones by the end of this trilogy. The only reasons I like the clones is because I watched the Clone Wars. You will not like the clones at the end of this trilogy. Let's watch the Phantom Menace.
I can't
see
wait.
if we make it to the other 2. There's 2, not 3. Ready for the longest title crawl of your life?
No, I'm not, actually.
3, 2, 1.
I didn't hear you say go, so I just kind of had to guess when you said it.
Yeah, this is gonna be the longest slog of your life.
Is this, I didn't actually, is this the longest of the prequel movies?
Yeah, I think this one is.
A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
You look so optimistic when you start, and the warning flags go up immediately. I'm not going to lie. They go up as soon as the title sequence rolls.
Oh no, Attack of the Clones is longer. Attack of the Clones is 2 hours 22 minutes. Alright, should we take turns reading this?
I'll read the first one, I guess.
Okay, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Don't you love political intrigue? Turmoil has engulfed the Galactic Republic. The taxation of star routes to outlying star systems is in dispute.
Hoping to resolve...
Oh, yeah, go.
I thought you meant, hoping to resolve the matter with the blockade of deadly battleships, the greedy Trade Federation has stopped all shipping to the small planet of Naboo.
I can't believe this is how they set this movie up. While the Congress of the Republic endlessly debates this alarming chain of events, the Supreme Chancellor has secretly dispatched 2 Jedi Knights, the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, to settle the conflict. Oh god, I'm glad that was the end of it.
Yeah, okay, it is so baffling to me that they thought political trade blockade negotiations was a captivating story for Star Wars.
And
What?
it's the first thing you see!
We didn't plan this, but we're recording this on tax day, like the official tax day in the US, April
yeah.
15th. I'm not saying that like a political-driven Star Wars story could never work. I'm sure you could write a really engaging political thriller set in the Star Wars universe. You could sure as hell do that for Halo, for instance. But from what I remember, this movie is decidedly not an engaging political thriller by any stretch of the imagination.
It really isn't.
It's just people standing around in a room talking shit about taxes and trade and all that, and no one...
And then sometimes they fight, and then they stand around some more, and then sometimes they fight, and then they mostly stand around.
Oh, that's the other thing, is it seems, from what I remember, this movie seems to be trying to be both your typical Star Wars sci-fi action-adventure, and also a political drama thriller thing, and it just fumbles over itself trying to be both at the same time.
Wow, I wonder who they are. It's strange. There's like practical effects, and then there's excessive amounts of CGI in this movie.
And I wonder which of those two look better.
I don't sense anything.
It's not about the mission, Master. It's something elsewhere.
I'm being reminded of the acting capabilities, or maybe not acting capabilities, but the direction of the actors in this trilogy. There's a pretty stacked cast in these movies. They're
Not all of these people are bad actors. Most of what Natalie Portman is in is good.
I watched Black Swan recently, and I don't think very highly of it as a movie, but damn, she can act. She can act her heart out if she needs to.
And then you'll see her in this movie, and it's like, hi!
Okay, so the plot here is that they sent Jedi for the trade dispute, but they did it in secret, so they hopefully wouldn't notice, I guess.
And yet, they 2 mysterious people in cloaks!
Yeah,
Walk in!
Jedi have a pretty universal look to them. You think you might want to try to disguise yourselves a little better than
They're
this.
literally dressed in Jedi robes.
Like, could you have tried any less to disguise yourself? If it were your absolute goal, could you be any more conspicuous? They got Liam Neeson for this movie.
Yeah, they did. They got Ewan McGregor for these movies.
Oh.
Captain, look! The fact that I barely processed that just happened!
Yeah, that happened very quick. Well, I guess they deployed toxic gas to the ventilation system. Okay.
They must be dead by now.
What? They must be dead by now. I'm sorry, did you not just unleash the gas? Why would you open the door? Why don't you just wait? Why would you open the door into the chamber of gas? What are you...
Roger.
Are you guys not gonna shoot... Those droids...
I really should have you watch an episode of the Clone Wars just as a palate cleanser.
Okay,
honestly.
What? I already have... Wow. So, the droids just, like, walked right up to him and didn't shoot the gun. They also... I like how Obi-Wan just force pushes those 3 guys and didn't do that for any of the other ones. I feel like we could have made that fight a lot easier. And again, why even open the door? If you trap... What the fuck? What was that guy doing? One loner was late to the battle, I guess. Yeah, I'm sure. The lightsabers can't go through more than one door at a time. You really got him there.
It got stuck!
I'm still just stuck. And what's this guy do? Why is he... They just send one droid per each wave at once, I get...
They are still coming through.
Yeah, it's the same damn door type. No, it's not impossible. It's the same damn door type as the other one. Man, imagine if they opened their attack with the droidicas.
Yeah, imagine.
Stand up. Let's go.
And I'm still... Whoa, wait, whoa, what the... Did I miss something? Did they just... teleport across the fucking hallway? What? Just...
You know, honestly, probably.
Surely I must have blinked and missed something. There's no way they actually just teleported to the other side of the goddamn... Maybe it was a Force illusion projection thing.
That's not a thing they can do. Well, surprisingly, it's not a thing you can do.
Well, Luke does that in The Last Jedi, right? He projects himself onto the... Although I guess that requires concentration. He's sitting still, and he's not currently trying to escape the other direction.
They can't just say, illusion down! Oh my god!
Okay, I'm actually kind of shocked. I did not think it would be this broken this quickly. I have so many questions as to what just happened.
Again, this is what happens when you give George Lucas full creative control. Man has great ideas. Unfortunately, you can't have great ideas all the time.
You need somebody to filter down what you're doing. George Lucas clearly needs somebody to filter himself out.
And also, for it to not feel like this is the first draft, we haven't even got to the lore dumping bits of this, and that's like half the movie. They just dump lore.
I'm still stuck all the way back on why they opened the goddamn door. The whole point was they unleashed gas into the room to kill them. They waited 3 seconds and they said, oh, must be dead by now, and then they opened the door, thus allowing them out to wipe out all the I'm confused.
A communications disruption can mean only one thing: invasion.
What? Yeah, the communications interruption means that they can only mean no, or maybe it means they're having technical difficulties, like, hello? But no, the only logical conclusion is that because we're having technical malfunctions, it must mean that there's an invasion happening.
Honestly, these movies will make you question how Palpatine rose to power, and then you watch the Clone Wars and it's like, ah yes, that makes perfect sense. But you watch these movies and you're just like, how the fuck did no one catch you?
So I honestly didn't expect that I was gonna have much to say because I don't know anything about Star Wars beyond the basics, like
But general film structure-wise.
Yeah, the main tentpoles of the movies. I'm honestly probably most familiar with the events of the sequel trilogy because those are the ones that came out when we were in middle school and high school, so they were like, that was our generation's version of Star Wars. But
yeah, well, for me, it was the prequel trilogies first, but that was because, well, I grew up with a dad who basically loves Star Wars, still loves Star Wars. It's like his favorite thing in the world. He's a giant nerd.
I just mean in terms of how they were released, and it was the big cultural phenomenon the same way that the original movies were for our parents.
Yeah, but like, yeah, it makes sense. For someone who, like, wasn't engaged with Star Wars and then Star Wars movies started coming out, it makes perfect sense that the sequel trilogy is the thing you're most familiar with. Oh, look at this epic chase sequence.
Oh,
look at this!
Oh
my god!
What is going on?
The worst character in the movie, but also probably the only one with a personality that's not fucking cardboard.
Okay, that looks wow.
Why did they just keep going?
Oh, that looks awful.
Where's your Padawan? How did you escape?
I don't know I don't know how we got from point A to point B. I don't know what is going.
Why is me say your humble servant?
I do not want it understated. Jar Jar's CGI looks considerably worse.
There's the Padawan.
You might not think that I should hold the CGI against the movie, and in total, I won't. I'm never one to say, oh, the CGI was crap, therefore the whole movie was crap. But it's still worth pointing out.
It is still worth acknowledging the CGI is a piece of shit.
Especially because the CGI in movies older than this one hold up considerably better. He doesn't look like he's in the same scene as them.
There's a hidden city. It's where I grew up. I will take you there. Why?
Good thing he's literally stumbled into. So to recap what happened, they escaped. They escaped onto the planet. They ran into they somehow ended up being chased by all the ships in a Lion King stampede. Literally bumped into Jar Jar, who was gonna take them to the secret city.
Okay, see, plot contrivances, stumbling into plot by chance works. However, what happens immediately after they stumble into the plot by chance matters a lot, and it did not work out here.
Also, I don't think this is the last instance of them stumbling into the plot by sheer happenstance.
Yes, you can also only use it so many times before you realize, are you actually doing anything?
No, they're just being bumped from scene to scene like ping pong balls. God, that doesn't look good.
You can get away with stumbling into plot by chance, like, 2 to 3 times. A few more if, like, you justify why the plot contrivance stumbled into the person. There's a character who's looking for something, and they stumble into the answer, but, like, the thing they stumbled into was actually looking for them. So, that's a plot contrivance that has justification. They literally ran this man over in the middle of the woods, and he's just like, I'll take you here!
They literally just stumble right into him.
Why was he in the middle of the woods? That's a great question. Why was he also running? That's a great question. We don't get the answer.
Where are we even?
They haven't given us the name of the city. I just realized this. I know the name of the city, but they haven't given the people the name of the city. Look, more horrible Jar Jar clones.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. More CGI abominations. It's exactly what I wanted for Christmas. How did you know?
I
forgot they went here to begin the movie. I thought they went here later because I was like, it makes sense. They would go to Naboo, they would try to negotiate, things would go south, and then they would go to Jar Jar's people for help. I didn't realize they just started at Jar Jar's people before they even met the people they're actually supposed to be meeting.
Holy shit, this looks so bad. This looks legitimately awful. Like, they're just so clearly standing in a green screen.
Oh my god, stop, no, what the fuck?
It's poorly composited. It looks like they've been placed on top of the scene. It doesn't look like they're actually standing in the room.
At least they have shadows.
Hey, here's the thing. Guess what, guys? Blue's Clues, unironically, has better green screen effects than this.
Well, yes, you're not wrong. It does. I feel like I should be watching an animated movie, not the prequel trilogy.
Why does every single actor sound like they just don't give a shit about anything?
I don't know.
Because I've seen these guys in other things. I know it's not their fault. They can clearly act.
Yeah, most of these people are good actors.
Did they just tell them, try to sound like you care less? Try to sound like just the soul's been sucked out of your body.
Do less. You know all that acting you're doing? Do less of that.
I understand you're really trying to go for the emotional value in this scene, but what if you did the opposite of that?
Why do you need a transport? Where the fuck is happening?
The bad guys sent an army to the planet of Naboo to fight them? That's the plot here? That's the big bad?
They're invading Naboo.
They're not there yet, so they landed very far away.
No, they're on Naboo. This is Naboo.
I mean, like, the other side of the planet instead of...
Yeah, they're on the wrong part of the planet. This is the other race that lives on Naboo. This is the Gungans. In case they didn't tell you that, I'm not sure if they actually told you that. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, it's actually hideous to watch.
You know that Star Wars The Clone Wars really changed people's perception of the prequel era by the fact that all the lore I know about the prequel trilogies is not from watching the prequel trilogies. It's from watching Star Wars The Clone Wars, which went back and retroactively, like, justified a bunch of things and also just made things more compelling and better. You can actually see Anakin's, like, fall from grace in that in a really, like, well thought out and graceful manner. And then you watch these movies and you're like, wow, there was a time in which that made no sense, where they just jumped from movie 1 to movie 2, and they're just like, not movie 1 to movie 2, movie 2 to 3, and it's just like, Anakin's evil now because his wife's pregnant. That's it.
It's kind of a miracle that the original Star Wars movies were as widely well received as they were, and that George Lucas was creatively involved with both of them, because you look at this compared to the originals and you're like, wow.
What is he talking about?
I don't know, but there's a giant fish thing behind them that I guess their ship has no sensors to detect. And also, I guess the Force didn't detect anything either.
Yeah, the Force didn't warn them either. Honestly, if you're interested in Star Wars and you're interested in the prequel eras, just skip these movies and go straight to the Clone Wars. Do it. The Clone Wars is amazing. There's so much good character building and you learn all about Anakin's fall from grace. It's done in a well done manner, and you fully understand why he betrays the Jedi in the end. And it makes sense. It's really depressing that it makes sense, but it makes sense. Not depressing in a bad way, depressing in an, oh my god, this is really tragic way, and this could have gone so much better if so many of these, if just Palpatine wasn't an evil genius. Because Palpatine is actually an evil genius in that TV show. But he isn't here! See,
with the Toy Story commentaries, I was the one who had the most to say, but with here it's the opposite, because she is Star Wars is her bread and butter. It is not mine. So I'm just here to point out anything that doesn't make sense in its own consistency, where she has knowledge of the wider... I'm sorry.
Don't worry. The Force will guide us.
They
don't know where they're going. Yeah. They don't know where they're going.
Man, the Force really is the best tool screenwriter has at their disposal. Oh, the Force just told me where to go. Yeah, the Force
George Lucas just, whenever he didn't know how to justify a thing, was just the Force.
It's so lazy. It's such a lazy writing tool, especially because 5 seconds ago, the Force apparently led you right into the giant fish of death, but, the Force will guide you where to go, I guess.
The Force will guide us.
Speaking of which, man, the Force... Why do you... it makes you wonder why anybody believes in the Force at a certain point.
Honestly, I would watch the Clone Wars with you. That would be a better use of 7 hours.
Oh my god, it's gonna take 7 hours to watch these movies. Why? Why do I hate myself?
At least the last one's short. You know what? While we do this, I'm going to pick a Clone Wars episode that will be a palate cleanser and point out everything that went wrong in the prequels that, they did well in Clone Wars. Honestly, and I stand by this, Star Wars works so much better as TV shows than it does as movies, because it needs it needs that time that movies don't have. Like, honestly, movies are too short for the world building that Star Wars needs, and their TV shows are always, like, their best material.
What the fuck is that lineup? What,
Oh yeah, they're invading now! There's no resistance!
No, but
where's their army, you might ask? That's a great question!
They were just in a straight line going across the grassy plains instead of spreading out their troops so that they can completely surround the city. What?
They just marched into the city too with no resistance.
What?
I'm picking a Clone Wars episode. I need a palate cleanser, honestly.
I really thought that this was just gonna be boring and I was gonna want to die halfway through, but I'm actually legitimately amazed by how stupid this is so far. This is like, the fuck is happening?
I'm just gonna keep taking this time to talk about a better series and a better piece of media. The Clone Wars has Ahsoka Tano in it. Best character ever. Star Wars. Love her. Favorite Star Wars character. I have her voice actress's autograph. I also have Anakin Skywalker's voice actor's autograph. They're both great. When Ahsoka is first introduced, she is an arguably hateable character. But the Clone Wars takes the time to, like, develop her arc and, like, turn her from, like, a hateable character to, like, the most beloved character in that entire series. How the fuck did they get here?
Speaking of getting here, how convenient that they showed up right as
they were...
If
not for, like, the past... How long are we into this movie?
Not long enough. 22 minutes.
If not for the last, like, 15 minutes, them conveniently showing up as they were capturing the queen would not be a problem.
And also the exact location, too. Like, of all the places they could have emerged from underneath from the water. You know, you'd think they'd have wanted a stronger escort force to get the queen out of here than a couple useless droids, but I guess, nah, that's fine.
Here's a great question. Why did they go to talk to the Trade Federation before they went to talk to Queen Amidala?
They need her to sign a treaty to make this invasion of theirs legal. They can't afford to kill her.
They needed...
The one small compliment I will give is that they did do a good job at making sure that all of the attendants looked the same.
Okay. So they need her to sign a treaty so that their invasion is legal. Question, why do they give
What?
a shit if they're gonna invade? Like, yeah, please give me permission to invade you, or you could just invade them. I would much rather be playing the Lego game right now.
And we're gonna watch episode 2 of the Clone Wars after this as a palate cleanser, because arguably I feel like that's like that is a great episode, and it gives a good way. It's a good way of showing everything wrong with the prequel trilogy. Or I could just take a better episode that involves freaking Padme and Anakin and Obi-Wan and any of these characters.
What the fuck are we? Why are the droids all so
Why is there
useless?
so much? We're gonna talk this out and then fighting, and we're gonna talk this out and then fighting.
Why even bother with the talking?
Why did all the pilots just lay down and take being captured?
I have too many questions as to what the hell is going on right now.
Where are they going?
Oh my god, this is really bad. It's only been like 25 minutes and my brain already wants to explode.
This is why I said you're allowed to back out from watching the other two.
Oh, R2, of course.
Yeah, this is how we meet R2.
Of course, yeah, it's great.
It's rough. It's rough.
There's the blockade.
Okay, there was a 0% chance you're getting out of this alive. No, you're dead.
With the power of the Force,
no
though.
fucking way. No, absolutely no
way.
way.
Power of the Force, though.
Generator's been hit.
How has your ship not been incinerated already?
God, I wish I could show you the finale of Star Wars The Clone Wars, because that's the Clone Wars' highest rated episodes. Also their best episodes. But I can't, because them being their best episode is wholly because the rest of the series does such a good job of setting up the rest of the ending and making it tragic. Why am I talking about the Clone Wars? We're watching the prequel trilogy.
Of course, every drone except for R2 got blasted in his back. And are they not gonna, they just stopped trying to hit the drone. They perfectly nailed all the drones in their first shot, but R2 just let us sit there and fix it. How are you still alive?
That little drone did it!
What the? There's no way! There's just no way!
I feel like by the way I'm talking, you can tell I'd rather be watching the Clone Wars right now.
There are many things I would rather be doing than watching the prequel trilogy right now, but yet here we are. Also, did they just, I guess they didn't send anybody to chase them after they made it to the blockade, they just let them go?
Was this when Disney hadn't bought Lucasfilms yet, because the Clone Wars came out on Cartoon Network.
Let me look up, when did Disney...
No, I can tell you exactly when they bought it. It was 2014. Why do I know that? Because that's when the Clone Wars ended.
Disney made a momentous and strategic entry into the entertainment world on October 30th, 2012 when they purchased Lucasfilm and the iconic Star Wars franchise.
Yep, they closed the Clone Wars the next year and a half after, is because they're like, you guys can have the season 6, but you only get half of season 6. It was great. We suffered for like a decade before we got season 7, which was the ending we all deserved. It was so sad, but it was the ending we deserved.
Okay, we are half an hour into this movie and nothing has happened.
I know! Isn't it great?
It's almost because like usually when half an hour goes by and it feels like no time has passed, that's a good thing because it means that you're so into the story you don't even pay attention to the clock. But there's also a way in which that's bad, because it can also mean that you don't even realize that that much time has passed because so little has happened. You're like, surely we must have just started watching. Surely we aren't 30 minutes into this 2-hour movie. Surely we're not already a quarter of the way done.
Oh, are you ready for I can't wait for this next plot contrivance. I can't believe this is how they did this. There's no music playing right now.
I do not agree with the Jedi on this.
Do not agree with the Jedi on this. Yeah, no shit.
That's the way to write dialogue, I guess. I do not agree with the Jedi.
I do not agree
Actually
with the
written by an AI.
I'm Padme.
I'm Padme.
Why is Jar Jar allowed to be here?
Is it bad that the Clone Wars tricked me into thinking that Jar Jar was an actually funny character? And then I remembered the prequels exist?
Well, Jar Jar might be funny in the Clone Wars, but he certainly ain't funny here.
This video should be titled, Why We Hate the Prequels and Love the Clone Wars.
Oh my god.
Let's crash land again!
Oh my god, of all the planets that they have.
They just conveniently crash land on the one that fucking Anakin Skywalker lives on.
No, but don't you understand? It's the Force. The Force guided them here.
The Force guided us here. That's what he says. That's what Kai-Jun says. Oh, now you put on this fucking disguise?
The Force is such an amazing plot hole filler. It's just like, how did they...
Hey, look, they put on the disguise.
If only you did that at the beginning of the movie, you probably could have avoided some... What? No! Don't bring Jar Jar into the city on a mission where you're trying to remain under the... Yes, let's bring...
I love how R2's coming too.
Why?
Well, I know why. Because she's Her Highness.
There's a stronger case to be made for R2 because you might need an astromech to do something.
Yeah, there's a stronger case, but like...
Then again, you are on a desert planet. I don't know how much technology you're gonna be...
I would love for the astromech, actually stay with the ship to help us fix it because, that's a thing, astromechs are good.
You'd think that might be something you might want to keep him around for, but there's zero reason to bring the walking clown Jar Jar.
They also left Obi-Wan behind!
If you're trying to remain under the
They
radar...
left Obi-Wan behind!
If you're trying to remain under the radar on this stealth mission, or not stealth, but a mission where your goal is to not draw attention, why would you ever bring Jar Jar along with you?
Also, Natalie Portman is short.
This guy.
Do you know what he's saying?
No. Hey, look, it's
You're gonna want to punt this child. After you watch these, you're not gonna be surprised that why Natalie Portman forgot she was in these movies. I would too. I would honestly forget too.
Wasn't it Taika Waititi that forgot, not Natalie Portman?
Are you an angel? What?
Oh my god. Are you an angel? Just shoot me now. Put me out of my misery. I'm struggling to think of a fictional romantic relationship with less chemistry than these two.
I like to say that Thor and Jane don't have chemistry, but honestly, they look like a match made in heaven compared to these two. For all the things that Thor Love and Thunder got wrong, Thor Love and Thunder did get Jane and Thor's relationship right.
There are scenes I can point to in the first Thor movie that shows them being human beings that actually talk like human beings. These two, actual pieces of cardboard.
No, they pulled up the script and they're just reading from it.
Why?
They're just reading from it.
Why did
Hey,
you...
look! It's C-3PO in the background.
Why did you bring Jar Jar here? It's like the absolute worst person you could have brought.
Imagine doing an analytical breakdown of why these movies are good.
No, fuck off. You couldn't pay me to actually go frame...
Those movies exist on the internet. Those videos exist. Oh, the animation on the Clone Wars is definitely aged, but oh my god, the story is still just so good.
I promise you it will have aged better than whatever the hell we're looking at right now. I
It has.
promise you.
I guarantee you.
Wouldn't have lasted long anyways if I wasn't so good at building things.
Just like pop these
what?
episodes on screen.
He just
The hidden enemy. That's a good one.
Oh my god, did you hear what he just said? He said, "Oh, if only I wasn't so good at building things." Yeah, that's how we establish our characters, right? By having them spell out what our strengths and weaknesses are. Like, what do you?
Yeah, we can't show our characters being good at things. We have to explain why.
My god, this is fucking terrible. This
Are you
is
starting to
awful.
understand why I say you're gonna punt this child?
The other, it's weird because I get most people know this kid from the prequels, but I know him as Jamie from Jingle All the Way.
Innocence of Ryloth is like the best episode of season 1. Oh, and Hostage Crisis? That actually shows Padme and Anakin's relationship. It makes you realize that these characters actually have chemistry and love each other. These movies don't convince me of that.
No, it convinces me of the opposite. I know I keep harping on about it, but seriously, why is Jar Jar here? Like, it is actively detrimental to your success to have brought him on this. Oh my
God, the deserter! That's such a good clone episode. I think the best part about the Clone Wars is that it actually makes it feel like Star Wars is a universe, and that every character has like weight to them, and like you actually feel bad about the clones doing the big betrayal in episode 3.
Oh my god, I just remembered.
What?
The
What'd you
reason
remember?
why they bring Jar Jar here is so that he can get himself into a pickle with some random townsperson so that Anakin can save his ass so that it can make Qui-Gon meet Anakin and be like, hey, thanks for saving Jar Jar. How about we have a chat together?
Why don't we have a chat?
It's...
How many minutes are we in? Okay, we're 37 minutes in.
The only reason why they brought Jar Jar here is to contrive Qui-Gon and Anakin together. Come on.
I think I want to have us watch Rising of the Benevolence just so I can show you why the Clone Wars freaking made everything about the Jedi, the clones, the Sith, the entire Clone Wars so much better.
I think we kind of glossed over, but I really don't want this understated. The only reason why this is happening right now is because Jar Jar did Jar Jar things, and Anakin just happened to be around to get him.
Basically, George Lucas couldn't think of a different way to instigate the plot, which I can think of several at this point.
These are my friends, Mom. Hi there.
That's a stretch.
I'm building a joy. You want to see?
Oh, would you be able to guess that this family's enslaved? I wouldn't.
Oh, they're enslaved? I didn't know that.
You wouldn't be able to guess that, would you?
No, I wouldn't actually. I had no goddamn idea that was...
Don't worry, they'll exposition it to you in like 20 minutes or something.
Let's see. 3PO. Oogie boog boog boog.
Where is everybody?
Oops.
This would have been a great way to introduce the fact that Anakin is good with machinery.
Instead of saying earlier, man, if only I wasn't so good at building things, because writing is hard. Is C-3PO CGI here?
No, he's practical.
Okay, because he looks CGI. Like, R2-D2 looks practical, but C-3PO doesn't look as good. I don't know.
Practical. They have a human actor in C-3POs.
Well, I know that there's a human actor in the actual golden C-3PO suit, but I feel like if you try to shove a human into that thing, it'd be like...
I think that might be a puppet.
It'd be like a spring-lock suit in Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh my god, heroes on both sides is so good. It actually makes you understand why the Separatists are fighting this war, or why some Separatists are fighting this war, and it makes sense.
Are you just gonna keep listing off Clone Wars episodes the longer into this we get?
I'm going to be listing off better Clone Wars episodes and why they're examples of how you can do how they could have done the prequels well. I have IMDb open right now, and I'm just scrolling through the seasons. Oh yes, Darth Maul is just casually on Coruscant, and none of the Jedi know.
Oh man, that's one thing I remember from this movie, is that they have one of the coolest character designs for a Sith Lord, and then they have him show up randomly at the very end for a battle, and they kill him off immediately.
We can watch the Altar of Mortis and the entire, not the Altar of Mortis, that's the wrong trilogy, that's the wrong, arc. Great arc though. The Mortis arc is a great arc. Really like foreshadows like Anakin's fall to the dark side, and it kind of like shows you why it was inevitable at like a certain point. And it's like, damn, that actually that makes sense why it became inevitable, because he passed the tipping point.
Pod racing on Malastare.
I'm the only human who can do it.
What? I'm sorry, did Anakin just say he's the only human who can pod race?
Probably.
It's just
pod
racing. It's not what? Okay.
I had a dream I was a Jedi.
I had a dream I was a Jedi!
Why else would you be here?
Why are you talking like this, child?
Because writing dialogue is hard.
Why isn't Obi-Wan here? Why'd they bring Jar Jar instead?
How did you end up out here in the Outer Rim?
Well, you see, kid, we accidentally stumbled into your planet.
No!
You know what they're gonna say in like 20 minutes? The Force brought me to you. I'm not even joking. See, in like 20 minutes after the pod race, they're gonna be like, the Force brought us together. Also, if you want to see more Darth Maul, and the great part about the Clone Wars is the fact that you don't need to watch additional episodes to just watch any episode of the Clone Wars. Watch the last 4 episodes of season 4 and the first episode of season 5. Great Darth Maul arc. Though it is the beginning of the problem of Darth Maul just keeps coming back for some reason. Like he refuses to die.
Wait, I'm sorry. I was trying to focus on the movie. I only partially heard you. Darth Maul lives? He survives this movie?
Somehow.
That's weird. I seem to remember him being chopped the fucking half and falling down a giant ass pit.
The Clone Wars does actually give, like, proper justification for how he comes back and why he comes back, which is why the Clone Wars is a great TV series and you should watch it.
So I'm just thinking of the sequel trilogy where Palpatine falls down a pit in Return of the Jedi, explodes, and then the Death Star explodes again, so he's properly incinerated, and then Rise of Skywalker is just like, I'm back, bitch.
I'm back, bitch. They didn't justify that. I wouldn't be surprised if they made, like, a movie explaining, actually.
No, don't you understand? Did you miss it? Did you miss the expanded universe material where they actually explain how Palpatine came back?
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say they adapted the extended universe material. Because I knew that they did explain that in, like, roundabout way.
Oh, I'm not being serious. They just, his reveal isn't a Fortnite event.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even fucking kidding. They literally have Palpatine's...
There is a comic. There is actually an extended universe comic that does explain how he came back. It would be great if they actually put that on screen so that, people who don't read that actually knew. But, that's too much work. Why would we actually do the smart thing?
You supply pod and the entry fee. I supply the boy. We split the winning 50-50, I think, huh?
This whole movie has been a side quest. It's like, oh no, we crashed landed on a planet and we gotta go get an engine to fix our ship. But
when was the last time we saw what was going on in Naboo? What is happening on Naboo right now?
20 minutes ago, I'm pretty sure.
How long into this movie are we?
45 minutes.
Can we not just watch the Clone Wars instead?
There's something about this boy.
The Force senses greatness in Anakin or whatever.
There's something about this boy. It provides no further explanation.
Oh, I think, don't they? I feel like they do provide an explanation in the form of, what are they called again? Yes, midichlorians, I believe is a term that rings a bell.
You know the best part about midichlorians?
Do I? No, I don't.
Because they introduced midichlorians in the prequel to, like, justify why the entire prequels are happening. They did have to spend a good chunk of the Clone Wars explaining why midichlorians work, and unironically, the way they explained it in the Clone Wars actually makes fucking sense! And yet they couldn't conjure any of that magical, like, sensibility for this movie.
What I'm learning here is that you just shouldn't ever let George Lucas write anything in a vacuum.
George Lucas advised on the Clone Wars. Good thing it was only advising. At one point, he was like, we should kill off Ahsoka Tano. And the production team for the Clone Wars is like, no, that's a bad idea. And here's all the reasons why. And he's like, yeah, that's a bad idea. Sorry I brought that up. This is what he needed for this movie.
My understanding is that with the original trilogy, George Lucas had the story, like the actual breakdown, beat by beat plot summary of
but he had, like, editors.
Of what had to happen in the trilogy. But it was regulated by someone who actually translated that story onto a page in the form of a screenplay, and then another person who actually directed the movie to visually communicate that in the form of a film. So there were several steps of filtration to help refine that story into what we actually got. Whereas this is all written and directed by George Lucas, and what a mistake that was.
The way midichlorians are explained in the Clone Wars is so much better than how they're explained here.
Well, from my understanding is that they aren't explained here, so I feel like they win by default.
Yeah. That's CGI. Look at that thing just superimposed over the real world. This is supposed to be like some grand moment, and I just don't care at all.
I don't, yeah. It's John Williams. Getting John Williams for this movie is like getting Michael Giacchino for Cars 2.
Who's Michael Giacchino?
Composer of The Incredibles, The Batman, Spider-Man Homecoming, Jurassic World.
Basically getting an amazing composer, and just like, here's your movie. They also, once midichlorians were properly justified, they were able to use that information to make it an actual pleasable plot point in The Mandalorian. Wow! Look what happens when you put explanation into your
freaking thing.
Oh, is this when he says it? Oh no, he's gonna say it.
Midichlorians.
He's gonna say the thing.
Need a midichlorian count.
Ah! He said the thing! He said I need a midichlorian sample. God.
The readings are off the chart! Over 20,000!
Isn't it, like, it's so lame. Wouldn't it be much better to just say anyone can be a Jedi if they train hard enough, rather than, well, kid, I sure hope you have enough magic juju cells in your bloodstream.
The way they end up justifying it, and like it actually in the Clone Wars TV series, I can't explain it well. 1 second, because they have like an entire arc about Force-sensitive children that actually explains the midichlorians, and when I watched that as a kid, I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. And then I come back to these movies, and I'm like, why the fuck did they introduce midichlorians in the first place?
That is a good question. It's like, regardless of whatever justification, even assuming in good faith that they had the best justification in the world for the midichlorians, I'm still gonna circle back to my question of why did you ever think in the first place that this was a good idea to introduce into the because whatever explanation they give would be retroactive to try to make something good out of a terrible decision. So now I'm just questioning, why was this decision made in the first place?
The worst part is, it was George Lucas who decided to make this retroactive decision. It wasn't like someone came in later and added it. The creator of Star Wars, looked at his own work and said, this is a great explanation for why they can use this.
That's what's so confusing to me, is that you have the guy who made the original or at least came up with the ideas of the original trilogy, and he's the guy who made all this as well. It's so baffling.
It's not someone else doing this. He wasn't like held at gunpoint. He didn't like hand it over to someone else. George Lucas wrote the prequels himself, put them in the movies himself, and thought he did a good job. Oh no, it's the guy you pissed off earlier.
We'll let the fate decide. I just happen to have a chance cube here.
Does he not know this is a Jedi? Hand wave.
Didn't he say earlier that you can't use your Jedi mind tricks on me? But now he's just does.
You're surprised!
What the?
That he manipulated the fucking dice toss! Oh look, there's another random child here for some reason. I have no idea who the fuck this child is. Who is this other child?
I don't know.
And he doesn't ever appear in this series again.
It's like that kid at the end of The Last Jedi. They clearly set up to do something and then nothing happened in Rise of Skywalker. I don't know if it's the final shot, but one of the final shots of The Last Jedi is the kids in the garage looking up at the sky. The message being like, the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi, anyone can use the Force, and then nothing happens with them in The Rise of Skywalker. It's like,
Oh, pardon, sorry. He does appear again. In the great, video game known as Star Wars and Empire Divided. Star Wars Galaxies and Empire Divided. It was an MMORPG. And it looks like shit. Oh, look at all this CGI.
I don't want to harp on it because it's such low-hanging fruit. Jar Jar earlier really caught me off guard because he looked way worse than I remembered, but at this point I'm just like, yeah, it all looks like sloppy shit.
Yep, it's here.
And the thing is, there are movies that predate this one with CGI that holds up way better. So I don't think it's unfair to criticize the CGI in this movie. It's just because it's older.
I need to remember to go through and watch Star Wars Visions.
Star Wars Visions is the anime anthology series, right?
Yeah, they commissioned a bunch of anime studios who were like, we want you to make a Star Wars thing. You can literally do anything, go crazy.
Oh, great. My favorite type of humor. Fart jokes. In my Star Wars movie. My all-time
favorite.
favorite.
Jar Jar, don't forget.
Yeah, of course.
What's the new slate of studios they have for Star Wars Vision?
I wasn't paying attention. What? Yeah, no one will see that. No one will see this guy sabotaging Anakin's ship.
Don't worry, we'll just use the Force and find out. I don't know if that's how they do it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
The Force is really fucking annoying with how selectively the characters choose to. The Force will guide us to the correct place, and then it doesn't. Or the Force told me.
It's selective in this movie specifically.
Really, no one noticed him sabotage the ship. Okay, surely some sensor is gonna go off in his ship that's gonna let him know that someone wrecked his stuff, right? So surely.
Star Wars Vision Season 2 has hired El Guri. They hired Cartoon Saloon, which is the company that makes all the Irish mythology ones, Punk Robot.
There's really just no kind of detection sensors going off in Anakin's ship right now that something's wrong. None. Oh, also, question. If Qui-Gon was willing to sabotage manipulate the dice roll with his Jedi mind tricks, the wager he did against the flappy dragonfly guy, why doesn't he just sabotage one of the other racers so that Anakin wins?
That's a great question.
He's clearly not above
And we're
cheating.
not gonna get to that answer. Okay, here's one of the two good sequences in the entire movie. There's only two.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this is one of the only two parts of the movie that I actually remember somewhat enjoying as a kid, and I'm guessing guessing our answers would be the exact same as to what those two are, those being the pod race and the Darth Maul fight.
Yep.
But now as an adult, I'm just questioning why there's no alarms going off in Anakin's ship, like, warning, warning, some dude sabotaged your ship, maybe don't take off. Just might be something worth considering, I don't know.
I would say that, the answer is, because it probably doesn't have any sensors. Oh, look, Jabba the fucking Hutt is here. What?
Because nostalgia, I guess.
How did you not? Also, kid, also, I was just going to say, why didn't you just check? Hey, look, who it is?
So I don't see how it's possible for him to win this race now. He has like a 10, 15, coming up on probably 20-second head start. I feel like there's literally no way Anakin could possibly win this race now. Yeah, so that's like half a minute of not racing.
He still wins somehow.
Well, I will say this is a lot of fun in the game, the Lego game section. Not the original version of this in the GameCube era was crap, but the remastered version of this level in the complete saga was fun. Wow, wait, you caught up to those guys real fast. The lack of music is somewhat confusing.
Let's just not question it.
Oh, hey, Tusken Raiders. I remember them. Do you remember? I remember them.
Oh, wait, Tusken Raiders?
Yeah, they were sniping at the... Yeah, there they are. Sniping at the ships. There was really just... Wouldn't this be a great opportunity for John Williams to compose a really epic pod race theme? There's just no music here.
There's no music in like half of this movie.
It's so weird. You have John Williams. What are you
doing? This movie is shockingly silent.
Except for the big moments where it has, because Duel of the Fates is one of the most beloved musical compositions in the entire Star Wars series. But then I can't name you any other track from this movie.
People get tricked into thinking the prequels are good solely based off this one this one scene in the movie.
I mean, hey, I guess I should be glad there's no music because it makes it easier for me to get this through copyright, but
also why?
So baffling. It's so confusing. It's like they accidentally uploaded the wrong version of the pre-release cut of the movie before John Williams got to do anything. And I still don't understand how Anakin managed to catch up to these guys in his broken-ass pod when he had everyone else had a 30-second lead on him, or however long it was. It was a long-ass time that he was just sitting there. It may not be that long in the grand scheme of things, but in a race, that makes all the difference in the world. Take my banana peel.
Look at all those interested faces. That's not the face of a mother whose child may die in the pod race.
Yeah, it's like no one cares about anything in this movie, and it's really weird. It's like they were told not to emote ever for any reason.
What did Studio Mir do? Oh, this is from Soul. Oh, they've probably done a bunch of sub animations. Batman and Superman. Oh, they worked on Kipo. I'm just looking up better Star Wars content, if you can't tell.
By the way, you mentioned earlier that Anakin's pod might not have the sensors to notice when something is wrong.
It also that also may just be a lie.
It was a good attempt. You try to give the movie the benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, you forgot that we're watching the Star Wars prequels, and that's a fool's gambit to try to give these movies the benefit of the doubt.
I tried.
You know, both of us said this is the only two good scenes in the movie. I'm starting to take back that comment because
I'm starting to question.
Most of this is nothing. I don't feel like I'm on the edge of my seat right now. This feels really drawn out.
I'm just going through freaking the studios that are producing for Star Wars Visions. Every time I stop talking about the prequels because I'm bored of the prequels.
Reminder, this is all her idea. I really shouldn't be bored out of my goddamn mind watching this, yet I am.
My cousin literally fell asleep at one point. Do you want to know what I saw when I went to check on her? She was watching the prequels in our kitchen, and I came to check on her, and she's asleep on the computer, and I look at the screen, and all I see is a bunch of CGI takes rolling across a grassy field, and I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Did you hear that? John Williams finally woke up.
Maybe this is why we thought this sequence was good, because the last few minutes actually has music.
Yeah, so his ship has so many sensors right now detecting that things are going wrong.
How long is this pod race sequence actually? It's been 7 minutes, and we just got the music.
Yeah, I like how magically now his ship finally woke up and realized that maybe there's something wrong. It's only now starting to affect his ability to This is significantly worse than I remembered it being.
Why are we here? Because I said so. Remember, you can back out at any time. You can just watch a better Star Wars media called The Clone Wars.
How have we been watching this movie for an hour and 8 minutes? Nothing's fucking happened yet! Nothing has happened yet! It's just been a goddamn side quest for most of it. I feel like I actually think we spent more time on Tatooine than we did on the actual plot of this movie. But the other thing about that is that the main plot of this movie is fucking tax negotiations. You know?
You're right! No, it's not tax negotiations, it's trade negotiations.
But, well, I mean, isn't the whole thing because they're blockading Naboo to protest the taxing of the galactic trade routes?
Yeah, and this is where you question, how does that turn into a full war? The Clone Wars, for reference, are referenced in the original trilogy. Oh, he just won! Oh!
Yeah, I guess he won. I don't...
He won!
This is the part where I pretend like I care.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either.
Oh my god.
In my attempt to watch this movie, I've started looking at clothing because it got hot and I need more t-shirts, I've realized. Or not t-shirts, I need crop tops because it's hot.
In Chicago.
Yes. The clothing I have, it's too covering. It works for most of the year. Unfortunately, it's not most of the year anymore.
We owe you everything, Annie.
We owe you everything, Annie!
You know, it's kind of weird to go from a sort of motherly relationship that Padme has with Anakin to the sequel to the Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
We're in love!
It's really, really weird.
It makes sense, at least from Anakin's point of view, because Anakin did have a crush on Padme.
But Padme! Well,
Are you okay?
No, I'm not actually. I'm
What
regretting...
did you just realize? There was a realization in there.
There's there was no realization. It's just like thinking about everything about this prequels. It's just like eventually you just go, God damn it, this is so fucking stupid.
You know, the Clone Wars and Clone Wars Order 66 actually made me cry.
The thing is, I don't care enough about Star Wars to actually be mad about these movies.
You're just annoyed that this movie's bad.
I'm just like waiting for it to stop. Unfortunately, we still have an hour and 4 minutes left.
Did you hear that?
Did you hear it? Did you?
I'm free!
Look at how you'd think you'd be really excited about this, but that would require acting, and we don't do that in the Star Wars prequels.
I'm so bored.
Our meeting was not a coincidence.
What? Fuck off! Fuck off! Our meeting was not a coincidence. Come on, this whole movie is a pile of coincidence.
To be honest, Qui-Gon is easily one of the worst characters in Star Wars ever. Also, mostly because he never gets proper characterization ever.
Remember when this whole movie got kicked into gear because they crash landed onto Naboo and bumped into Jar Jar, which then led to them bumping into everybody else, and they crash landed on Tatooine and bumped into Anakin because they brought along Jar Jar on a stealth mission, and they bumped into this fucking movie is really just...
Order some good food so I can forget about this.
But you remember the Force, right? The Force explains everything. They met because the Force or whatever bullshit.
He just said yippee again! You're leaving your mother behind!
What about Mom? Is she free too?
I tried to free your mother, Annie, but...
You really didn't!
Yeah, you stop lying.
You really were just like, okay, you're like, you can only have the kid. He's like, okay, I'll just take the kid. I mean, the mom does eventually get free, but we also never see the mom again.
Well, we see her, but I think she dies in the second movie. Like, we see her she's dying.
You're gonna scream your head off at that scene for none of the right reasons.
I really want to know the logistics of C-3PO in this movie now, just because it can't be a human in a suit because he would be dead. But you're right, it does look practical, so I'm wondering if it's a puppet or an animatronic or whatever.
How it was achieved was a puppet. And the puppet was built at ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, by Michael Lynch, one of the prop makers and designers.
Like, I knew this movie was gonna be boring as shit, but I didn't realize it was gonna be this goddamn painful. How did I ever sit through this when I was a kid?
Same way I sat through it as a kid.
But, like, I assume you would have done it with your family, right? Because you said your dad was the one that got you into this stuff?
Yeah, I almost certainly did it with my dad.
But see, that's the difference between us, is that my parents care probably less about Star Wars than I do, honestly. And they would never have voluntarily showed me the prequels. I would have done this of my own volition. I would have put the disc in my DVD player and said, you know what I want to do today? I want to watch the Phantom Menace. That's what I want to do with my day.
Fucking Phantom Menace!
There were movies that my parents showed me because they wanted me to see them. Back to the Future comes to mind. My dad showed me the Back to the Future trilogy, the Indiana Jones movies. Plenty of stuff like that when I was a kid. The only reason I ever watched the Star Wars movies is because I played Lego Star Wars and I said, hey, look at this.
See what these are based off of, like a reasonable person. That was your first mistake.
This is neat. And then my parents dug them out of the did you ever have a DVD carousel when you were a kid?
Oh yeah, you've seen like all the binders I have in my house.
Oh, no, not, I don't mean like case, I mean an actual carousel of discs that you would put it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I think my grandparents had one.
I haven't seen one of those since I was a kid, but it's cool. For anyone in the chat who doesn't know what I'm referring to here, basically a carousel is a thing you put a bunch of DVDs in, and then it rotates around. Think of it like a jukebox, I guess, where you put in a bunch of discs, and then you just pick whatever you want to watch. So instead of having to put in new discs every time you want to watch a different movie, you hit a button on your remote saying like, I want to watch F3, and then that's the movie when you watch. Oh, this.
Oh yeah, casually appears from nowhere.
And then out of nowhere, completely derail the pacing with the.
We love good pacing.
Hey, you know what I love in action scenes? I love it when it's all shaky cam and there's a million cuts per second, and you can't even.
You know what I love? I love realizing that Qui-Gon is a terrible Jedi Master. The more I rewatch this.
Like, action movies do this, they just do it all in close-ups with a million cuts to make it feel like it's more intense, but all that happens is it makes it more impossible for me to comprehend the fight. Like, just keep the camera focused on the whole entire battle so I can see what's actually happening. Also, I like how Obi-Wan didn't even try to help Qui-Gon in that battle.
Why is Obi-Wan the ship, kid? How did he get back?
Why is Obi-Wan even in this movie?
Oh, no, you know why he's in this movie? Because he has to pseudo-adopt Anakin at the end of this movie.
Of course.
That begs the question. Why didn't you have Obi-Wan come with you to the surface instead of Jar Jar? So that they could actually start building a relationship early.
You know, I never really give much thought to what I would consider to be, like, the most painfully boring movie I've ever had to endure. Because usually when I watch a bad movie, it's just poorly constructed, but it's at least engaging because of how poorly constructed it is. But with this, it's so much of this is stretched out for no reason, and the core central conflict is fucking tax law and trade federations. This might actually be my pick for the most boring movie that has ever been made.
You see why I said I won't blame you if you fall asleep.
And the thing is, like, I'm kind of concerned that I'm gonna piss off Star Wars fans with how hard I'm going on this movie right now.
Oh no, they know it's terrible.
Well, I mean, you say that, but, like, there's a sizable amount of people I've seen online that genuinely love the prequels for one reason or another. Like, these movies have a fan base. I remember seeing when the Kenobi show was coming out, Hayden Christensen said that he was happy to see the kids that grew up with the prequel movies in the same way that our parents grew up with the original trilogy, showing their love for the prequels around the time that Kenobi was coming out. He was basically saying, like, they weren't appreciated at the time, but the kids who watched them when they were young and they grew up with them, now that they're growing up and they're adults, their love is shining through, and there was a heartwarming moment for him. So it's, and I also know that there are people who retroactively came to appreciate the sequels more after the sequels came out. Did I say prequels? Whatever.
Prequels.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they appreciated the prequels more after the sequels came out. And, like, yes, the prequels are punching bags. They've been memed to death. I know that, but I have definitely seen that the prequels have a fan base out there. So if you are among that fan base, if you love this movie, I'm sorry. I'm glad you love it. I really am. I may not understand why, but I'm happy it makes you happy. But you gotta understand, this is fucking terrible. It's a pile of dog shit.
I just realized they haven't even got to the fucking twist yet. If you can even call it a twist at this point.
There's a twist in this movie?
It's a terrible twist.
I'm trying to think of what it could even be.
It's a terrible twist, and you're gonna slap yourself for not thinking of it, and you're also gonna say, that's the twist, and I would say yes.
Is the twist that I'll try spinning? That's a good trick.
Someone does actually try spinning in these movies. They get up and they just spin to win. That's what I call it. Spinning to winning. Wait, why are they on Coruscant? I want to punt these movies off a cliff.
With the communications breakdown, we've been very concerned.
Oh, right, remember that? The communications breakdown, what they thought meant Why does this movie exist? I think the Lego games are just an objectively better way to experience this story.
They are.
Because it gives you just, like, all the highlights. It gives you... Playing the pod race is a lot more fun than watching the pod race, let me tell you.
It is. I agree. Come on. Wait, why is Anakin going with Padme?
Maybe we missed something, I don't know.
Even if they explained it, I still question, why is he going with Padme? Shouldn't you take the really powerful Jedi kid that you picked up back to, to the Jedi Council so you can talk about this and not just dump him on Padme?
I guess maybe the idea being that if he's in the palace, he's surrounded by heavy artillery.
Is he though? The Republic didn't have a standing army until after the Clone Wars started. I'm not even joking. They did not have a standing army.
Remember when they showed the army rolling up on Naboo? What's the latest status update on that?
Great question.
There's really no one at any point that try to intervene and be like, hey, Georgie boy, have you considered throwing out the script and trying again? Having another go at it, maybe?
Any other choice would be to submit a plea to the courts.
They're expositioning us. They're sitting in a room and expositioning.
You know, it's generally a good idea to, like, send your writing to other people to get their feedback so that you don't end up digging yourself into a hole.
Yeah, I've been doing writing and I've been sending it to another person and they catch so many of my spelling errors. And also, you know, every time I use the wrong name, they'll just be like, do you mean someone else for this? And I'm like, yes, I did. Thank you for telling me.
If only spelling errors were the most of this movie's problems. Oh, it's Yoda. They forgot Samuel L. Jackson for these movies.
Oh yeah! You know how he got him to agree to this? He just was like, I want a purple lightsaber, and they gave him a purple lightsaber.
Why do you keep wasting all this talent? You have such talented actors and you're just wasting all of them.
I'm not going to lie, Samuel L. Jackson's performance in this did set the standard for how Mace Windu was actually supposed to act, and like, he's probably the only one acting in this series.
Imagine getting Samuel L. Jackson for your Star Wars movie and then you have him sit around on his ass mucking about talking politics the whole goddamn time.
He's like the only one acting in this scene, and the reason why he's acting is because his character is actually just like the biggest piece of cardboard ever, and it's supposed to be like that.
I guess maybe the other reason is that they wanted to talk to the council without Anakin present. There's more of this.
I'm on my way to the Jedi Temple to start my training, I hope.
Did this kid do anything after this trilogy or this movie?
I don't believe so.
That's depressing.
Hey, he could always stage a comeback.
Oh no. The last thing he did was voicing Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars video games in the early 2000s. That's... no. Oh! Interesting. So on IMDb, there's a documentary listed called The Tragedy of Jake Lloyd. Doesn't say much about it. This might not have gotten off the ground, but fascinating. Anyway, back to the movie. What are we doing now? Why are we just floating around in a broom of political nonsense? I don't care about the trade route or whatever the fuck is going on. What are we doing?
Oh, you know what I should do? I should pick a Clone Wars episode that shows you how they do political intrigue correctly in the Clone Wars. All of this information is flying over my head.
And if it's flying over your head of the Star Wars, then how do you think I feel right now?
It's definitely not in your head.
I'm just waiting for the credits to roll, honestly. Unfortunately, how long is it going to be till that happens? It's going to be 47 minutes! Shoot me! How can there possibly be 47 minutes left of this movie?
I could be questing in Genshin right now. I could be sleeping right now.
There are so many things I could be doing that don't involve watching the Phantom Menace.
How did you trick this person into fucking doing this? This is the only time this character is ever relevant.
I thought you were talking to yourself there. How did you trick me into watching this movie?
Now they will elect a new chancellor, a strong chancellor.
1 second, I'm gonna look up IMDb's Clone Wars. I'm gonna pick a freaking political thriller episode because there's a few of those, and some of them are really good. There's another Invasion of Naboo episode actually in the Clone Wars that's done considerably better than this Invasion of Naboo.
Also, wasn't there a blockade on Naboo that they had to fight their way through to get out when they left? Or actually, wait, never mind. They're not on Naboo, right? This is a different place. This is Coruscant. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll take that back.
I was fully ready to like explain or just like not explain that reasoning until you realize this is the wrong planet.
Yeah, I thought they came back to the moon. Never mind. I'll take that back.
This is Coruscant. Coruscant is the city, the planet city.
Because I was gonna ask how the hell they got through the blockade with no resistance, but this isn't even the same planet, so that's fine.
Coruscant is city all the way around.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Ah, there it is. There's where that quote comes from. I knew it was Star Wars, I just didn't know from where.
Aha, I found one. I love this episode. Called Senate Murders. It's a political intrigue murder mystery.
You know, you're keeping yourself busy by roaming through the IMDb pages of Star Wars, The Clone Wars. Meanwhile, I'm sitting here just struggling to care about what the hell they're talking about, and anytime this movie isn't doing stupid action, it's just characters sitting around in a room talking about stuff in a monotone voice that no one cares about. Nobody gives a singular crap about anything that these characters are discussing. Characters, I say, in massive, massive quotation marks.
I pray you will bring sanity and compassion back to the Senate.
That's how I feel about this movie. I hope you bring sanity and compassion back to me. Like, good God.
Oh my god. Oh, my food got picked up. I'll be here soon. So maybe by the end of this movie. Nope, it'll be here before the end of this movie. That's great.
42 minutes left. It's been an hour and a half.
Are you sure you want to watch the next one? It's worse.
I'm actually strongly contemplating not watching movies 2 and 3. This is...
I told you, you are allowed to dip out anytime.
This is miserable.
Oh my god.
One of the most miserable movie experiences I've ever had.
We haven't even watched the second one. There's 2 more of this.
Alright, I found something else to piss me off to stimulate my brain more. Apparently the Little Mermaid remake is 2 hours and 15 minutes. You wanna know how long the original animated movie is?
An hour and a half under that.
1 hour and 23 minutes. That's almost
they
a full hour longer.
What
Why?
they added? I wonder what they added.
Judging by the other live action remakes, probably nothing good.
Well, I haven't seen it, so
I don't want to see it. I'm done with Disney live. I mean, I'm gonna have to, obviously, because we've done double features for Aladdin and Lion King, but...
Oh, when are you gonna film that double feature for the Mario movie?
Well, we already filmed the original, and I wanted to die, but we're gonna film
more than this one?
See? That is...
Your question! That's a good question, isn't it?
Wow. What's worse, the original Mario movie or this? The original Mario movie's shorter, and it's funnier. Like, I actually laughed because of how stupid that was, whereas I'm bored out of my goddamn mind here.
I'm not allowed to train you.
I'm not allowed to train you.
Imagine just
Do you
getting...
remember the justification for why they're not allowed to train him?
No, I don't.
He's too old.
But...
That's the answer.
Oh, wait, here we go. We're gonna get the answer. What are midichlorians?
Midichlorians are a microscopic life form that resides within all living cells.
This might be the end of the explanation. That's the end of the
A
explanation.
microscopic life form that lives inside all living cells.
I think that's the end of the...
That's so lame!
I think that's the end of the explanation.
Why? It literally is just magic juju cells in your bloodstream.
In the Clone Wars, they further explain that midichlorians are the method in which the Force is able to like communicate with humans. So without midichlorians, they wouldn't be able to use the Force. It's like that thing that the Force isn't all living things, but like you have to have enough of it to be able to use it. That's a terrible explanation. The point is, it wasn't explained at all in this movie. They haven't even gotten to the fucking... Oh my god, they really drew this out for that long?
Yeah, I guess that they're returning home to finish the battle that they started an hour and a half ago. But good luck getting past the blockade. Wait, where's... What? What?
What?
Where's...
What?
Is there no...
There's one battleship? There's
no...
a battleship? It's a droid control ship!
What? Where did the blockade... It's just gone. It just disappeared. It just no... So apparently I was one jump ahead of the breadline with my criticism earlier. I had the wrong planet initially, but I ended up being correct anyway. They just fly back onto the planet with no resistance from anybody, even though the blockade was a big-ass deal earlier.
My friend sent me a video called The Diagnosis because I've been brain rotting on a specific pair of characters, and I'm considering just watching that right now.
I hate this movie.
Just to get away from this.
I hate this.
Been a good apprentice, Obi-Wan, and you're a much wiser man.
What is happening?
Next time you ask me to do an audio commentary, I'm gonna think very carefully before I say yes.
Hey, at least the next thing I suggested was not terrible.
The How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is a win because I've actually seen those and I know they're good, but with this I was like, well, people want to see me talk about Star Wars, so I guess everybody wins here. No, I don't win. This is not a win for us. I hope you're everyone who asked me, hey, well, have you considered ever doing the Star Wars stuff? Well, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're getting exactly
the consequences of your action.
The Gungan city is deserted.
Do you think they've been taken to the camps?
More likely they were wiped out.
They wiped out the Gungans! That's what they just said! They're not here! Must have died! They really just said they must have died since they're not here. And they just find them! Well, they found their missing Gungan, who have an entire army for some reason.
Oh my god. I don't know if it's possible to express how little of a shit I give about anything that's happening right now.
You shall bring in the mechanics.
The what?
All bombard.
Bombad?
We have searched you out because we wish to form an alliance.
I don't think you realized they existed until a few... I don't know why they did it like this! I don't know why they did it like this! I hate this!
I can't believe that's Natalie Portman. She doesn't sound... It's like someone's got a gun to her head. She sounds so monotone in everything that she says.
Like, look at her performance as Jane in the MCU. And, like, across all 3 movies. Even in Thor Love and Thunder, she's acting more there than she is here.
I'm gonna go pee. I'm gonna leave you
I'm just
suffer
gonna
through this
leave.
fire. I'm gonna leave you to fill the dead air. Enjoy enjoy entertaining people while I go. Goodbye. I can't. I need to. This is fucking terrible. This is so much worse than I thought it was gonna be. Goodbye. I'll see you soon.
Hi. I've been abandoned, which I'm gonna be honest, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. I entirely expected him to leave within the first 30 minutes of the movie. I'm surprised we made it to an hour and 40. Why are they smiling? Why are they acting like this is a win? I was gonna try to go back to sleep after this. I don't think I can. Does Naboo even have any army? Because it looks like they do, and they're just haven't been using them. They haven't fought at all.
And enter the palace and capture the Viceroy.
You make this sound so easy. Yeah, what do you think, Master Jedi? Why are you just going along with this? Are you not concerned about the consequences of their actions?
I'm back, and we're still in the exact same scene as last time.
Also, did you realize that Padme being the real queen was supposed to be a plot twist?
Oh, that was the plot twist?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's why I said you're not gonna
Wow.
believe it was a plot twist.
I was because like I said earlier, I had a vague idea of the plot of this movie based on the Lego games, and I was trying to figure out what the twist could possibly be. And it's like, oh, that was. All right.
Yep, alright.
So, what exciting plot developments did I miss?
They're invading the capital?
Oh no! Weren't they doing that at the beginning of the movie though? They haven't. They've done a pretty lackluster job at actually following up on that.
Oh, and look at this army!
Great, an army of Jar Jars.
I still don't understand. Does Naboo have an army or not?
It's just like they booted up a Minecraft super flat world, or like a Windows XP wallpaper, and that's where the fight's happening.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to bring my food inside.
Sure, I'll fill the dead air for you. Okay, so this movie is fucking terrible. This is like, I honestly expected that for most of this I'd just be like, not caring, and I don't care. I'm bored out of my mind right now. But I didn't expect that I would have anything substantive to say beyond the fact that I'm bored, because I just didn't remember there being anything really all that significant that happens outside of the pod race and the Darth Maul fight. But no, every frame of this has just been garbage. Like, maybe I'll change my mind if I rewatch the sequels, but right now I would rather rewatch any of the 3 Star Wars sequel movies. I would rather watch Rise of Skywalker than this, because at least Rise of Skywalker is so outrageously stupid that it's impossible for me to take seriously, so I'm just laughing at it the whole time.
Hey, you wanna guess what the child doesn't do? Go inside and find a place to hide. Hey, you wanna see Anakin have super main character syndrome for about the next 20 minutes? Because we're about to.
Alright. Then he's... Oh, you just reminded me of the bit where he just, like, he downloads an entire gigabyte's worth of plot armor.
I understand that the pod racing was supposed to establish he was a pilot and a good one.
No.
It doesn't no, it's terrible. I say I understand. I didn't say it did that.
I get that's what they're going, that's what they want you to think. The logic being that he's a great pod racer, therefore he's a great pilot, but come on.
That's why I said that's not what happens.
Also, doesn't he accidentally get sent into outer space?
No, he climbs in the ship of his own free volition.
Okay, I thought he just like accidentally wound up going on an adventure to blow up the dreadnought or whatever.
No, he climbs in the ship, he turns it on, and he takes off and leaves. What did this happen?
John Williams woke up again, by the way. Although I recognize this music mainly from the Lego games, not even the movies.
R2-D2 would not have just sent the child into space by accident. This kid climbed in the ship and actively made the decision to just leave. These are supposedly the best parts of the prequel.
Really?
Supposedly. Maybe it's because no one's talking. The droids sound terrible in this movie too.
Why did they bring Anakin to this insanely dangerous battle? Like, why does he need to, I mean, I know why the script needs him to be here so that he can blow up the big ship, but like...
Because main character syndrome.
And then because pacing, we cut away from the epic action sequence to slowly watching the droids get deployed one wave at a time onto the grass.
With no sound, mind you, there's no music. This is entirely silent.
The way this is edited and scored is so confusing to me.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to like the weird awkward scene where they just run in a hallway. There's like a solid mid scene for like, they're running a hallway for like a minute.
I wonder if these droids will be any less incompetent than the last droids we've seen throughout the entire rest of this.
I don't know why these droids are any better.
They're bigger. What? What's the goddamn point of the force field? And they can just walk right through it. Like, what? Why did you even bother?
Okay, so the ray shield is, that's actually how ray shields work, and it is consistent through the rest of canon, that you can walk through them, but you can't shoot through them. That being said, why didn't they account for that possibility?
Like, what? What's the point? Also, it looks like you're just launching paintballs at them.
Hey, wait for me!
Anakin, stay where you are. You'll be safe there.
But I...
Stay in that cockpit.
See, this child's about to make the conscious decision to go into space. R2!
Here he is. Just here.
We'll handle this.
What?
We'll take the long way.
What? What? What do you? Why are you leaving? What do you mean we'll handle this? You have a big ass army behind you. What the fuck are they doing?
They're taking off their roofs! They're taking the time to take off their fucking roofs!
Shoot! Not the wall! The people! This is the second of the two things I actually remember enjoying from this movie.
The fight choreography for the Darth Maul fight is actually unironically really good.
Hey, imagine if the droidekas actually surrounded them on all angles instead of just standing right next to each other.
Oops, wrong one. Maybe this one.
Okay, yeah, that is what I thought happened. That is what I thought happened. He pushes buttons trying to activate, like trying to get the blaster to shoot down the droids, and he accidentally ends up sealing himself in and taking off.
And no, but
it's on automatic pilot.
Yeah, like it's on automated pilot. Oh.
R2, here's the follow-up question. R2 can control this ship. Why is R2 not doing anything? And he just puts the helmet on. He's like, I accept this fate.
Why is it that every time I do an audio commentary, my worst movies list immediately becomes outdated?
Let's be honest, it's specifically audio commentaries with me when I suggest the movie, because I've only suggested you the bad ones so far.
Hey, at least to counterbalance it, you also showed me The Batman, which is one of my favorite movies of all time now, so, you know.
Oh yeah, I did get one movie right, but I knew that one was going to be good. The other ones I also knew were going to be bad, and I still showed them to you.
Because you secretly hate me. They're just fucking running down. How are any of you still alive? My god, this movie just keeps getting worse.
We don't have time for this, Captain.
What is this acting? We don't have time for this, Captain.
Look, there they are. That's where the autopilot's taking them.
Yeah, the autopilot is literally directing them exactly to where the plot needs. Fuck this. This is so goddamn stupid. No, nobody checked the draft before they actually put the script to film.
If only the Darth Maul fight was still happening and we could see it. Oh wait, it is, but we can't see it. What are you doing?
Watching Jar Jar fumble his way through. Why are they shooting him? Shoot him! Oh my god! His foot got caught on the wire and it accidentally fired the blaster exactly where he needed. Oh my Jesus Christ. Why do droids keep walking up to people while they have blasters in their damn hands? How are you still alive?
You did it, R2! You sounded so happy about that!
Head first into an army of the enemy ship. You've never been in space. You've never flown a ship in space. How are you still not dead?
A miracle. That's
God.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
He said the thing! I'll try spinning! That's a good trick! Maybe at some point this movie will stop assaulting my senses.
Are they jumping out the window?
Yeah, I guess this is a plan.
Hey, here's a question. Why didn't you fight the droids off when they first got here?
I don't know.
You obviously have a decent armed forces. Why didn't you at least try to fight? Instead, you're just like, no, they could just come inside.
I'm just imagining this being somebody's first introduction. Like that poor sap who says, hey, people tell me Star Wars is great. Maybe I'll actually check them out on Disney Plus. And they see the timeline order and they're like, oh, I'll go chronologically. You know, that makes sense. Start with episode 1, then go 2, 3, 4. And then, like, imagine.
Here's the actual good fight. The actually good fight choreography, where was that hiding?
Yeah, well, it's almost like, what are you doing in this movie? You don't belong here. You seem oddly out of place.
Yeah, look at that fight choreography. Like, you could almost trick me into thinking I was watching a well-thought-out movie.
But also, what is this hallway for, other than to build suspense, which admittedly...
I think it's to literally just to make sure that, freaking Obi-Wan can't help his master.
No, I mean, like, obviously, narratively, that's why it's here. I mean, like, when they,
Why have you kneeled down?!
built this hallway, what practical purpose does this serve? Because... it seems like the only reason why this is here, other than cutting off Obi-Wan from the fight, is to build suspense for when Qui-Gon and Darth Maul go at it again with each other. Which, admittedly, it builds that suspense nicely, but like...
But also why?
What is the point of the hallway with the... Oh...
It builds the suspense, yes, but does it really deserve to build the suspense?
Uh-oh.
Why
Wait.
don't we just watch episodes of the Clone Wars instead after
Oh no.
this? I've already given you 2.
Did the balls end up actually doing something to... Oh, fuck off. Oh my god, it keeps fucking with me! Yeah, he just accidentally unleashed a tidal wave of blue balls of death that kill all the...
Let me just look up the Jar Jar Binks episodes in the Clone Wars, because they actually treat him with the seriousness that he deserves. Like in the Clone Wars, you can I actually buy that Anakin and Padme are in love.
Okay, shoot them, shoot them, shoot them, shoot them. You were shooting them earlier, shoot them. Fucking shoot them. Shoot what?
They win this round!
Why were you not trying to shoot them earlier? What?
We need our 2!
Oh my god, they got hit, and that inadvertently led them to flying through the interior of the ship, and this leads them to blow it up, right?
Hey look, the movie's here to remind you that they can actually choreograph fights. Like, this looks like a sword fight.
See, if only Qui-Gon was a character.
If only.
I like Liam Neeson, but I don't care at all about his character, so that death...
Wait, how did they lose? How the fuck did they lose?
The best part about recording commentaries with you is that most of what you say I don't hear because Discord filters it out, so I get a fresh surprise whenever I bring the audio into Vegas to edit it.
It's just like, Discord's like, this is too loud while I'm yelling my head off.
Yes.
After her! This one's a decoy.
What does this matter?
What
does
you
this
guys
matter?
are not that stupid, right?
I'm so confused!
I'm sure they risked their lives to save the decoy. Why is everybody in this movie just devoid of cognitive thought?
Let's watch the Clone Wars instead after this.
And we're still doing the whole Lasergate thing.
It's on a timer? I just realized this. Where are they? Are they like the power core?
I have no goddamn idea where we are or what's going on. I'm just
Get
waiting
revenge, Obi-Wan!
I'm just waiting for him to knock Obi-Wan into the hole, and then he'll sit there like an asshole, and then Obi-Wan
I appreciate that his fighting style gets notably more aggressive after Qui-Gon dies. Like, this is great fight choreography. If only it wasn't in this movie. Oh, his dead body's just over there.
It's over, Obi-Wan, for I have the high ground.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
Oh my...
Oops. Main character syndrome! He has main character syndrome!
Oops, he just... like he slipped on a banana peel. Oops!
Let's get out of here!
Shot my energy ball of death into the power core of the fucking ship, which I already accidentally got launched into because I got hit out of the sky. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Are you sure you
Everything
wanna
is
watch
just
the
built
rest of
on
this?
straw contrivance. It's so fucking...
This episode right here is also a great episode. I've given you like 4 choices of Star Wars episodes that we could watch instead of any of the prequels. The other prequels.
Oh, and it's a Lightyear moment where all the droids just immediately shut down as soon as the god...
I mean, they did say that it was the control ship.
Yeah, but it's still the same problem I have with Lightyear. It's
I know, except it's just worse here. Because it kind of feels like they didn't deserve it. There's a shocking lack of dead bodies.
Hey, Darth Maul, maybe instead of playing with your food, just fucking kill him?
Correct. He does use that lightsaber for, I think, the rest of his life.
Maybe also knock that lightsaber into the pit as well. Okay, do something, wow, he literally just sat there and let himself get sliced in half. And he survives this, you tell me?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Which one of the 4 Clone Wars episodes would you rather watch?
Is
he still alive?!
Man, this is really sad. If only there was some way that you could use the power of the Force to heal fallen allies in combat. If only there was a movie.
If only they acknowledged. I know that some people aren't good at force healing, but like, all you had to do, because force healing existed at this point, by the way. It existed in canon. They could have talked about it. All he had to say was, I'm not good at this, I'm not good enough at force healing, I can't heal you, it's too bad. That's all he had to say to justify it. That's all you had to do. All you had to do was justify your lack of skill. Ah! Why are can they tolerate the train franchise for another, like, several years?
Just thinking about the 2 hours and 5 minutes of my life that I'm never ever going to get back.
Do you want to watch the other two? I don't know if we should.
I do not want to watch Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. I would rather do, how about, anything else?
Pick one of the 4 episodes I sent you. I sent you 4 Clone Wars episodes. Pick one of those. Watch that instead. So much better than whatever the... Because the thing is, I've seen Attack of the Clones. It gets worse. It doesn't get better. There's no upward momentum.
You know, I know it's not exactly an original thing to say, but God, I much prefer Puppet Yoda to CGI Yoda.
Oh, yeah. Everyone does.
There's just an intrinsic charm that Muppets have. I saw there was an animated Muppet show that I just didn't want to watch because it's like part of the intrinsic appeal of the Muppets is the practicality of the the personality that all the puppeteers infuse into their performances.
And the fact that they're Muppets?
Yeah, it's just, they're neat to watch. This is not that.
I feel nothing right now. I feel nothing.
I feel happy because you know why? It means we're almost at the end of the movie. We're like 2 minutes away from the end.
We're almost at the end of the movie. You get adopted by Obi-Wan.
Which was destroyed? The master or the apprentice?
And now for something completely different. You know, wouldn't it be a much more profound note to end on the funeral scene with them asking which was destroyed, the master or the apprentice, instead of smash cutting to this triumphant parade? It feels like it doesn't quite tonally match with what we just watched.
Hey, that guy dies in the Clone Wars.
Just end already, please. Am I supposed to know what that ball of light is for?
I think so.
What?
Hey, look at him in his little Jedi robes. This would feel so much more triumphant.
If I didn't just watch Obi-Wan fucking die, or Qui-Gon just fucking... Oh my god, it's over. Thank God. You don't deserve this music, or John Williams. You don't deserve this.
What Clone Wars episode do you want to watch? What Clone Wars episode do you want to watch?
I haven't read the descriptions yet. I've just been watching this pile of shit for the last 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I could just watch Tales of the Jedi instead of other Star Wars media. I feel like we got our feelings out during that movie.
You don't deserve that.
This video's just gonna be like, we're watching the prequels, and then we watch the Clone Wars because, oh my god, the first movie was so bad we couldn't do anymore.
Yeah, I've never, in a previous commentary have I said, this is too shit to continue, I'm giving up. That's never happened before. This is the first time I've ever actually reneged on the original plans.
Like, I woke up this morning, I'm like, he's probably not gonna make it through the first movie, so...
Well, I made it to the first movie, but I'm not going any further than this, that's for damn sure.
Yep, I sent you 3 Star Wars episodes. They're all from the first 2 seasons, because I didn't want to get too deep. Though, you know the plot of the second movie. That's all you need to know. The second movie gets stupider. He discovers where the clones are, and finds out it was Dooku's plan, and then conveniently forgets it was Dooku's plan.
Which, if I remember correctly, I believe that plan is built on abject bullshit to happen. Like, so many people have to make the worst possible choice in order for that plan to actually become a reality.
The Clone Wars actually shows Palpatine's rise to power and the Jedi's fall from power in a good way that makes sense. I won't say that every single episode is good. There are 7 seasons. Not every single episode in those 7 seasons is going to be a banger, but most of them are good. And it also has, like, you don't have to watch them in order to know what's going on, so you can really just start anywhere, which is why I sent you a bunch of different episodes. Anyways.
Yeah, so thoughts on this movie? It's shit. If you love this movie, please tell me why in the comments. I would legitimately love to understand. I would
also like to understand. I've seen this movie several times now, and my opinion has not changed.
Because I know that there's people out there that really love the prequels, so if you are one of them, please tell us why. I would love to sit down and just listen to someone try to explain. I'm not even interested in changing anybody's mind. I don't care that much. I just want to know what people see in this movie.
We didn't even get to see the the quintuple assassination attempt, where the assassin hired an assassin who hired an assassin who hired an assassin to assassinate someone.
I think I'm kind of tempted to just go play Lego Star Wars now to watch, to just
We
remind
could
me.
just do that instead.
Yeah, this is either boring as shit with talking about the Trade Federation taxation nonsense.
Or it just makes no sense.
Yeah, or it just makes absolutely no sense. It's no in between.
It's like, why did you bring the child with you? Why did you bring Jar Jar with you? Why did you leave Obi-Wan behind? Why is the child going here now? What is happening?
Like I said, I really expected me to just be like, oh, whatever, I guess boring stuff's happening. But no, this was legitimately annoying to watch because it was just constantly pissing me off.
It's just a poor movie structurally.
Usually when you have
It doesn't structurally work as a movie.
And usually when you have a movie where the story sucks, at least you can be like, well, at least the music was good and the actors were good and the visuals were good. No! None of those three things are true here. None of them. Now, it's in the case of the actors, I don't know that it's the actors' fault because I know everybody in this movie, with the possible exception of Jake Lloyd, is capable of really acting their hearts out should the script demand it. So they clearly just had terrible direction. But with
literally every other person in this movie, you can just look at them and be like, yeah, this person's like a good actor. Why are you here?
Yeah, how did you stumble into this production exactly? I feel like you took a wrong turn somewhere along your career path to wind up here.
Oh wait, I have another episode I should add. There are episodes in the later seasons that I would pick, but you do not have anywhere near enough context or like emotional investment. Though I would say the context is the more context is the more important thing for some of those episodes because they happen so late in the Clone Wars that you need like context for what the fuck is going on.
Credits are done, thank Christ. So before we wrap this up, I'll just say this right now. If you enjoyed this, let us know. If you actually want us to watch the other prequels and the other Star Wars movies, we're only gonna do that if there's like a sizable amount of people that really enjoyed this and really want to see us react to the other Star Wars movies.
We need a goal. We need like a goal for them to reach.
Well, you set the goal. I'm not gonna be the one to set it. You lay down the criteria.
How many? Okay, let me make this reasonable, but also kind of hard to hit, but reasonable. I need to gauge what your like the average commentary. Also, I watched your April Fool's video. I remember doing that video, but I also don't remember doing that video.
Oh, that was so good. I forgot you were in it too until we actually, because I knew Brooks was in it obviously because it was his thing. But then you started talking and I died of laughter because I forgot you were even in that.
I was just like, ha ha ha. Okay, oh wait, I need to look. I also have to look at the commentaries that have me in it. Okay, that might be too low of a goal. Let's go with 450 likes. That sounds like a reasonable goal. I say that because none of the commentaries have reached that yet, but some of them have gone in close. So, there.
Alright, there's your goal, I guess. We'll see if it reaches that, we'll do the other ones. If it doesn't, then you'll never see another piece of Star Wars media from me or content from me ever again, because fuck this piece of shit movie. This was terrible.
Now as a palate cleanser, we're gonna watch the Clone Wars.
we need to cleanse ourselves of this awful movie that I've had to endure. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, then let us know. And if you want to see us do more, then we have to reach 450 likes. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. You could totally do it if you put your mind to it, but I also don't believe you'll do it. You wouldn't do that to us, right?
No, they would. Don't you worry. They absolutely would. But
no.
we'll if that happens, then we'll come back and we'll finish what we started. But right now, I'm looking forward to never watching another Star Wars movie for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's
the thing. We're gonna watch Clone Wars episodes instead.
Thanks for watching. Hope you had a good day. And any closing thoughts?
I called this outcome. I'm assuming you still regret your decision.
Yes, I deeply regret the time that I spent wasting. This is fucking terrible. I want to watch The Wonder Pets. I'm gonna pull up an episode of The Wonder Pets. It's a better use of my time. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for next time, and hope to see you all soon for whatever it is.
Maybe next time.
For whatever it is you decide to watch next. May the 4th be with you, everybody.
May the 4th be with you.